Today we're going to be talking about 5 totally unexpected side effects of homeschooling. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, anytime that I tell somebody that I homeschool and they are not in the homeschooling world, there is one really common question that I'm asked. Okay, in fact, you guys probably get asked it again, so say it with me. What about socialization? People ask me that all the time. How are you going to socialize your kids? But you want to know what no one has ever talked about? Is my own socialization. You guys, since starting homeschooling, my social life has definitely gone down the drain. just a hair. And I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting, or I guess I didn't consider the side effect of always being with my children. And yeah, that definitely does affect my own socialization. You know, before we were doing homeschooling, and even at the very beginning of homeschooling, I had a job. So I'd be having adult conversations, but there are definitely times where we go a whole, I don't even want to tell you how long before I have an adult conversation with somebody who isn't my husband. And, you know, I do have a couple of friends. I can count my good friends on one hand, my number one friend being my mother. Hey mom, if you're watching, hello. But yeah, my socialization definitely took a hit since homeschooling. And it is getting better because I kind of have realized that it is a bit of a problem for me. I need a little bit more. So I've been making an effort to connect with other parents and people that I get along with, following up with friends, and trying not to let my friendships fizzle out. So yeah, socialization for me, was probably the number one thing I wasn't expecting. Okay, editing Mrs. T here. There's one thing I didn't really point out when I was talking about my own socialization, and that has to do with the positive side of how my socialization has been affected. You guys, I'm so much closer to my kids now than I was before, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Yes, my socialization personally with grown-ups outside of my family took a hit because I didn't know how to balance it, and I was still figuring it out, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. My kids and I are so much closer now, and I've had so many amazing connection moments with my kids because we are homeschooling that, like, to me, this was absolutely worth the socialization issues I personally had with people that were adults, not family. Okay, I just wanted to point that out because I realized it sounded a little negative and I wasn't trying to be negative. All right, back to the other part. Number 2 here. I did not expect homeschooling to turn me into a junkie, but it did. I turned into a curriculum junkie, and I did not expect it. I would have never guessed how excited I would get about researching curriculum and opening curriculum and buying curriculum and actually using curriculum and talking about it. But I am a total curriculum junkie. I love it. It is definitely something that I was not expecting. But I will tell you, it can be a costly habit, hence I'm calling it me a junkie. So yeah, I have to definitely rein it in a little bit, but I wasn't expecting myself to kind of go so far in the deep end with my excitement for curriculum, which is good. It's good to be passionate about what you're doing, but yeah, it got to a level of, I would say, obsession. just a hair. Anybody else with me? Comment down below if you feel that. Okay, number 3, you guys, I didn't consider how victories in the homeschooling world could be so bittersweet. And what I mean by that is, like, you work so hard and you see your child working so hard on a concept. Let's just say reading. You're working on blending and sounds. And one day it clicks and your child hits this milestone and now they're blending and they are reading words and you're so excited. But all of a sudden it kind of hit me, right? Like, oh, it's also kind of bittersweet because there's no going back. And I guess this is kind of something that also exists with parenting as a whole. Once you hit these milestones, right? Your child is now crawling and then walking and running. And, you know, time just goes so quickly. And it's very exciting when you hit milestones in school and in parenting, but it's also very bittersweet because you're losing these moments. Like, you're not going to go back to learning to read with your child in the same way, like that wonder of like that first blend. You're not going to experience that again, and that can be a little bit bittersweet. Amazing, it's incredible to be a part of it, but I wasn't expecting it to make me so, I guess, not sad, but just feel so conflicted. You know what I mean? Like, again, the pride and the happiness mixed with a little bit of, I guess, yeah, a little bit of sadness. But yeah, bittersweet victories. I was not prepared for it. All right, next one, you guys. I was not expecting homeschool to directly ignite a passion in me for different new things. I guess, I mean, obviously, I'm very passionate about homeschooling itself. That is definitely something I'm very passionate about. But through learning with my child, there are a couple of things that I have found myself to really, really enjoy that I wasn't expecting. So, for example, I've always really loved books, and we have always read a lot of books as a family. But the number of books has definitely increased, and the depth in which we enjoy them has increased. And the fact that we're reading them beyond just like bedtime, we're enjoying them during the day, we're enjoying them with tea, we're enjoying them in the morning, and everywhere in between, has really increased my love for actually specifically picture books and children's literature. There is so much twaddle out there, but there is so much amazing poetry and art and like it's just warm stories, stories that make you cry, stories that make you feel inside children's literature. And I was not expecting myself to get so excited and so passionate about children's literature. I really, really love children's lit. Another example here is my children, my oldest in particular, is really into animals. So we've studied a lot about animals, we've observed nature around us, and because we've been able to slow down and dive into his passion, I have found myself really falling in love with the animal kingdom. I have loved learning about the different areas of the world and the different animals and how they live and what it's like for them and their environments and how they're changing. But I've also loved looking at the animals and the birds in our own backyard to an extent that really surprised me. Like I get excited when I see, an American robin just floating about outside my window. Like I get so excited. I've loved learning about the lifestyle and the patterns of different birds in our area. And I just have really enjoyed it. And that was very shocking. And that really came from my older child's passion for animals and us diving into that passion together. All right, so that's just like 2 examples. I won't keep going on here, but let's move on to the next thing. Okay, so apparently, you guys, kids need to eat food. And eating food equates to dishes. I was so not prepared for just the amount of time that is spent on food preparation and dishes. Being home all the time means that you are going to be eating at home more. So when we were before homeschooling, I mean, 2 things. My husband and I were both earning money, so we tended to eat out a little bit more. At the end of a busy workday for both of us, we didn't always want to cook, and we had the means to eat out, so we would eat out. So that means less dishes at home. The other side is when my kids were in childcare, they would be eating lunch at their childcare spot, and we would rush through breakfast. So breakfast was not like some elaborate thing. But now that we're homeschooling and my kids are home all the time, I mean, we eat breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, sometimes dessert, and sometimes snack before bed. And what's kind of has happened is I feel like they eat in the morning and then they play. And while they play, then I'm preparing for the school day. Then we start our school day. Then they take a play break and I clean the dishes. And without fail, almost every single time that I'm finishing up the dishes, at least one child's like, I'm ready for my snack break. So it's like this constant flow of dishes, food, and I feel like before homeschooling, we would have like a single dishwasher run a day. And now it's like 2, sometimes I'm not even kidding you, 3 dishwasher runs a day if we're hosting friends or we have people over. Like it's just insane the amount of dishes that you go through when you are suddenly at home a lot more. And you guys, that's basically it. I just wanted to share with some of these very funny things I was like really not expecting here with starting homeschool. I'd love to know what you guys think. And if you're still here, please subscribe and hit that like button so that way I know that you like the content and you want to stick around. All right, I will talk to you guys soon. You have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.